You're listening to episode 56 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with the flavor chef, Lance Roll.
That's the secret, health, beauty, and longevity.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Han, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. So here's a little bit about our guest today. Chef Lance has been a professional chef for 30 years. Chef Lance founded The Flavor Chef back in 2007. He made it his mission to bring healing bone broth cooked in traditional manner back into the marketplace. In 2008, Chef Lance registered 3 trademarks. His new company name, The Flavor Chef, because he is. His signature, Love is the Ultimate Spice, because, love is a spice that makes it all real. And his vision, Broth is good for you. It promotes a healthier you, because it's true. And Chef Lance founded his website, bonebroth.com. In 2012, the Brothery, America's original, was secured as a 4th registered trademark. In April that same year, Chef Lance was able to begin to realize his vision and began selling his organic chicken bone broth in local independent retailers in the San Diego area. In January of 2013, Chef Lance began distributing his bone broth to every corner of America by shipping it nationwide through bonebroth.com. The Flavor Chef Incorporated has steadily grown and now produces 7 distinct bone broths for the public at bonebroth.com, offering the certified organic chicken bone broth, certified organic grass-fed finished beef bone broth, certified organic chicken bone broth soup with coconut, ginger, mint, and lemon. Pretty cool stuff, huh? And this bone broth is based on an autoimmune protocol, 2-hour chicken meat stock designed for the gaps, phase 1 protocol, and an amazing immune-boosting vegan, no-bone broth as well. His mission and vision, holding to the principle that food is medicine, the mission and the purpose of the Flavor Chef is to help heal the planet one GI tract at a time. The vision to accomplish this mission is to restore and preserve the art and craft of producing nutrient-dense, nourishing bone broths in small artisan batches using traditional low and slow simmering. The Flavor Chef proudly brews all of his broths with the famous locally available polymer mountain spring water. All the bone broths are USDA certified organic. And Chef Lance lives in Vista, California with his wife, Suzanne, and son, Dylan. So here he is, Chef Lance. All right, everybody. In the locker room, we have Chef Lance. You may know him, actually, because he's the bone broth guy. He's the original bone broth guy, the Flavor Chef. All right, so welcome, Lance.
Thank you, Dr. Josh. Great introduction. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you can be very relaxed with me. Just call me Josh along the way. Let's make this fun and friendly. So what I like to get from everybody, and I say this in every podcast, every episode, I love hearing people's story. Because something led you to where you are today. Let's get the pre. What was going on in Lance's head before he decided I'm going to be the bone broth guy?
Well, that's a great way to start, Josh. I been a chef for 30 years. So this is year 30 to 1988. That puts it back all the way back then. And around 10 years ago, I was moving off of corporate work. I was doing a chef instructor at school, at a culinary school here in San Diego. And I got my dubbed the Flavor Chef at that culinary school. And almost immediately after that experience, was also transitioning a little bit from one part of my life to another. And I was, moving into this singleness. And then I was introduced to Paul Chek, the Chek Institute. And that was in 2006. And Paul introduced me to the Weston A. Price Foundation, which is a nutritional foundation that was, headed by Sally Fallon, and she wrote a book called Nourishing Traditions. So I went to go to work for him, doing some private catering for his groups. I still cater to them. I'll be going there tomorrow with a little bone broth for one of his little classes in town.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, very cool stuff. And they're big supporters of mine. Paul Check has a nice endorsement on our website about our products. And so I got a hold of the idea. I've been cooking for 18 years at this point, or 19 years, whatever it was. And I'm getting I'm reading all about these nourishing traditions and these beautiful foods. And I get this idea, holy mackerel, this stuff we've been making called stock is really this amazing healing elixir. And so literally on the 11th of 11/11/07 in November 11th, 2007, I was in the parking lot here in San Diego in Cardiff Market, Seaside Market, where we have our products today, and many other stores as well. And I got like a download. Basically got a download from God to bring this product to the market.
Yeah.
And I sit here 10 years later in about 85 stores, bonebroth.com, and a couple other things. So that year, 2008, we trademarked our trademark broth is good for you, promotes a healthier you with a smiley face, which is all about energy. And then we trademarked Love is the Ultimate Spice. The Flavor Chef, and we trademarked in 2011, we trademarked the Brothery. So those were early. In 2008, we took out bonebroth.com. Of course, I was way ahead of the crowd. I don't know where I am right now, but I know I stand above the crowd when it comes to quality and mission. So we created a mission to heal the planet one gut at a time, or one GI tract at a time. And, of course, we're running our website, bonebroth.com, and shipping all over the country every week, talking with great guys like you on the radio, getting the word out about our traditionally brewed, amazing products. And so that's sort of the story behind the story in terms of where that came from. And it's just been a work of passion and perseverance since 2007. We incorporated in 2014 and been growing slowly and purposefully, in the sense all our products are certified organic. Everything's made with spring water, so we're very clean, really sticking to our mission. So
that's great. I like that. That's very, very high integrity. When we're talking about food, it's healing. Integrity is huge, and it made me think about, when you think bone broth. I think of growing up in a Jewish family, going to Brooklyn for the Jewish holidays, and my grandmother. We have like this big stock. I'm guessing it was a bone broth. Or maybe not an 18-hour bone broth, but she's cooking with this big hunk of whatever, all the chicken bones in it, and then sometimes a split pea soup with like a beef bone in it. And my grandmother, at the end of the day, is taking all the I don't know, the gelatin, the collagen, all of this stuff out, and then she's almost 90 years old and still running around like a crazy woman.
Yeah, well, Louise Hay wrote a book called The Bone Broth Secret, and there it is. That's the secret, health, beauty, and longevity. And one of the things your grandmother was doing there was she was, procuring this amazing elixir. And it was passed down from ancient times, from Hippocrates and all the way back to Maimonides and different people that in cultures around the globe that were simmering bones, Jewish culture, simmering bones of chickens or beef or whatever, and then creating this bone broth. And drinking it for those reasons, and knowing intuitively that it was extracting all the liquid gold out of the bones, the marrow and the collagen and gelatin you mentioned. And there was also a very important thing you mentioned too. It was in your home. It was made by a person who was feeding it to another person. It was made with care. It was made with the intention of bringing nutrients and life-giving, vibrationally high food to your family and to your loved ones. And it was used a lot of times when people weren't feeling well. They would give them this broth because it was easy to digest. It would help digest other foods they were eating. Intuitively, again, it was healing the gut lining, which is where the immune system is. That's why we said broth is good for you, promotes a healthier you. Because basically when you improve the gut and improve the immune system, you improve your overall health. You could fight anything at that point, So it's a very important distinction right now too, because we have a lot of companies jumping in, and what they're doing is fast producing and doing all this weird stuff, and they're saying it's the same thing, but it's not.
Yeah, no,
So, and there's definitely a few great companies out there that are doing what I do, 18, 24-hour simmers, making a product that's worthy. And like you said, use it with integrity. So good stuff.
yeah. So here's another question. I was actually in the car driving home my father. We were both practiced together, and he started talking about bone broth, and he's like, well, how long do you cook it? How all of this stuff, and he's reading stuff on bones and chicken feet and all this different stuff. Is there a better type of broth between like chicken or beef, or is there another animal that gets used?
Well, that's a great question. The main two are definitely chicken and beef. That's what most people make broth from. You can make broth from fish. You can make broth from lamb. You can make broth from turkey. You can make broth from duck. Any animal that has a bone, essentially. And some people are making mixed bone broth where they have beef, lamb, bison, and turkey, or they have turkey and something else, and they're even making pork broth, which again is not my thing, but some people do make pork broth and have at it if they do. I don't particularly care for it. So, so the idea was, some sort of long-term slow simmer, which is the distinction between bone broth and other products. Lots of bones, usually a component of vegetables, herbs. We use parsley, thyme, and bay leaves, peppercorns, acid component, we use lemon and red wine, apple cider vinegar, organic. And those components help to make that into a bone broth versus a stock. The cooking time, the cooking temperature, bone broth versus other things, low, slow, simmer with a low gurgle and a nice long-term extraction, a gentle extraction of the bone.
Okay, and is there? I had another conversation this week again about bone broth. It's been on my head, I guess. And
sure, no worries.
And this, we were going to see Ben Greenfield in Manhattan, and my friend was talking about bone broth and making bone broth, and he said my grandmother or my grandmother or whatever, she was 94 years old, still makes a broth and gets like a collagen layer or something, or like floating on the top.
Yeah, generally that's the fat layer. It could be if she's using marrow bones, and she might get a lot of marrow as fat if it's a beef product. But yeah, the chicken fat will float to the top, so that you can use that as schmaltz or cook with it. And as long as the main thing, again, we're talking about here, making your own homemade broth, and we can go through the process a little bit. It's putting the bones, vegetables in a kettle or some kind of crock, or some kind of method that you could, and I don't, we mostly do slow cooking here, and then bringing it to a simmer, letting it simmer for a while, and then you'll get that on the top. But yeah, usually a lot of times what we do is we let that all simmer down, and we cool it to pack it to 45 degrees or less when we pack in our packaging here, for many reasons. But at that point, the fat coagulates, and we take the fat off. So very little fat in our product. You can get fat from other ways to put it into your diet, So we don't like the fat gums up the machine, and it definitely gums up the bag. So we keep it low fat. Okay.
But all the awesome ingredients. So give us some of the health benefits, because people that are just learning about bone broth or understanding bone broth may go, well, you said it's good for your gut, but like, what does it really do? Like, what else is in it that would be good for me?
Well, bone broth, first of all, has lots of bioavailable collagen type 1, 2, and 3. That's the main ingredient that comes out of the bones, out of the joints, and out of the different, with ours, we use several different types of bones in each broth. So we end up with all of those components there in the product. Lots of protein. There's 10 grams of protein per serving in the chicken and 11 in the beef. Amino acids. So we draw all the amino acids out, hyaluronic acid, glucosamine, chondroitin, glycine, hydroxyproline, all of these enes that are in there, glutamine, that are all have different components of things that are good for you. And then minerals, you're getting all the trace minerals, all the different macro minerals. There's actually not so much calcium in there, but there's magnesium, phosphorus, potassium. There's a small amount of calcium and a negligible amount, and then all the other trace minerals. But the main thing, Dr. Josh, is that the broth is a food. So molecularly speaking, your body's like, yeah, I'm eating food. And it's a big thing we forget these days. Your body doesn't want synthesized, denatured things. It wants real food. And we have this JERF, just eat real food. We have so many people out there touting real food, and then they come up and say, well, food is medicine, but here, take my supplements. No. If food is medicine, then eat food. Eat salad and lettuce, and eat vegetables, and eat your eggs, and eat your dairy if you can tolerate it or whatever. And there's all kinds of different. You got to find your way. I guess that might be one of my nuggets for later.
Yeah.
Bio-individuality. But again, so that's some of the major benefits. And then you've got joint health from there. And then you've, like I said, overall immune health. So you're improving your immune system, which again, in this autoimmune, in this disease racked world of things that are happening, when you can improve your immune system. And like you said already 2 or 3 times, you mentioned your grandmother's over 90 years old, drinking bone broth, longevity, very early in my studies of this in 2007 and 2011, I was doing a talk, and one of the gentlemen came up to me from the Caribbean, and he said, I just want you to know I'm a doctor, and I want you to know that people who drink bone broth, cultures that drink bone broth, live longer. They live more, they have more vitality, they have more virility, and they are stronger. They have a stronger, I want to say the word, it's a stronger, I can't think of the word right now. Sorry.
That's all right. No worries. No worries.
Yeah, it's just, no worries. Just, they have that strong immune system, so they're basically feeling good. So yeah, that's some of the best benefits you're going to get from bone broth.
Yeah, and I just want to circle back to, you started like giving that full list of all the things that are in bone broth that are in this food. And I'm sure people listening go, oh, I take a vitamin. I take that one. I take that one. I take that one. I take this one. I take that one. But it's made by nature, right? I mean, well, you make it. It was pulled from nature and put it into a soup or a broth for us.
The best way I could describe it is, it's just molecular. We're all made of molecules and atoms, and when your body, Paul Chek was one who sat there in a video with me on YouTube and said, this is hitting me at a molecular level. I can feel the goodness going in, in a book about bone broth, Deep Nutrition, or a book about nutrition, it was said that bone broth is a smart food. Kind of knows where to go. It kind of knows where your body needs it. And again, just because it's food, it's easily digestible. So when people are infirmed, or they're in an immune compromised position, or they're going through some struggle with a health condition, maybe it be cancer or Crohn's or one of these other debilitating type things, the bone broth helps to you assimilate all the things that you're doing and restore and repair the gut microbiome. So the microbiome is out of balance because of maybe treatments you're getting, and then the gut starts to heal, probiotics, and again, various other protocols that you may be using. And then you add bone broth to it. And the last benefit, one of the benefits I always talk about, is synergy. Synergy, it synergizes all the other things you're doing to make your life well, so that's hopefully a good synopsis.
Yeah, no, that is really good. And so in your past, when you were figuring out bone broth and making it, and did you have any health changes yourself? Did you notice anything when you started having it on I'm sure now everyday basis, probably?
Yeah, it grows on trees for me, as I tell people. So it doesn't grow on trees for everybody, but yeah, a cup or 2 a day is really good. And I think the noticeable difference is I've been super healthy. I basically don't get sick. My son is 7. He's fighting a little cold right now, but he's generally really well. My wife as well. So, we find a lot of wellness from it. Overall strength in our immune battles. And that's the testimonies we have from lots of people that have been using our product for all these years, that it helped them. One person told us that they fell off a horse. Doctor told them he won't be back on the horse for at least 9 months because of the different things that happened. And she said, no, I'm getting back on the horse sooner. She started drinking our broth, and literally said she was on the horse in 3.5 months. And I was like, well, I wish you could write that down for me and put it on our website because, I can tell people the story and they don't necessarily, whatever, but that's a true story. And so that's sort of the idea right there. I mean, recently lost some weight, so I can use bone broth a lot of times. Intermittent fasting, one of our fans out there, Dr. Kellyanne, who has her own products, but, she wrote a book, how to use intermittent fasting on a 21-day bone broth diet. Where you eat certain foods and you drink bone broth certain times of the day, and then you kind of fast from a night into the morning. You drink bone broth. It gets you through the till 13, 14 hours without eating. Your digestive system gets a break. So there's lots of different ways to use bone broth that way as well.
Yeah, I've learned a little bit about bone broth in that sense that people actually doing a cleanse.
Yes.
Or something with just it's like bone broth and vegetables. That's what you're gonna eat, and like cooked vegetables so soft, so your digestive tract heals very easily. It doesn't get strained from all these other things. And I've heard some pretty amazing stories. I mean, I'm sure your website's riddled with them. I saw some of the testimonials earlier today.
Sure.
But it's amazing. Would you mind going over? I don't want you to give away any like trade secrets or your recipe for flavor.
Sure. No worries.
You are the flavor chef, right? But if I were to ask, what do I need to do? Where do I get my bones from? For bone broth, how do you say spring water before? Kind of go through maybe what I should do if I were to say tonight I'm making bone broth.
Tonight you're making bone broth. Well, a couple of things. I'll just start off by saying the truth. 5 years of doing this publicly, and since 2012, bonebroth.com since 2013. We're entering our 5th year in January of 18. 95% of the people have told us they love bone broth, believe in bone broth, make bone broth, but glad they don't have to.
Yeah, totally.
That said, and ours is very affordable. But yeah, of course, let's talk how to make it. And you mentioned earlier, I told you I'm going to be on JJ's podcast on Facebook Live on Monday, the 4th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be doing this will probably be aired later, but if you do get it out there, but we're going to show you how to make it. So basically, the first important thing, water. Make sure you have great quality water, whether it be your filtered water from your thing. Never use tap water. Definitely make sure you have good filtered water, or better yet, like we do, we use spring water. Okay. Secondly, organic. Simply put, you just do not want to be messing around with anything that isn't at least certified organic, or the farmer and that it's pasture raised, grass fed, and that's mostly going to be beef. If chickens are pasture raised, even they could potentially be getting GMO feed, who knows. So certified organic when it comes to poultry, wild caught when it comes to fish, humanely raised, pasture raised when it comes to beef, lamb, only pasture raised. Know the farmer if you're going to do pork for sure. And turkey, again, free range, organic, certified organic or higher, or pasture raised on that as well. Again, know what the diet was of the animal. And then you're going to place those bones in water, usually bring it to a quick simmer, skim some of the scum that comes to the top. We don't add any salt, but you can if you want to. You add your cider vinegar. Some people claim to add it before, let it soak for an hour. We just keep it simple. It's going to cook for about 18 hours. We bring it to that simmer. Then we add our vegetables. We add carrots, celery, onions, ginger, garlic. In the chicken broth, we have lemons, of course, our cider vinegar, like I said, and then we have bay leaves, peppercorns, thyme, and we finish the product in the last 10 minutes with fresh parsley. So then it simmers for 18 hours at a low, slow simmer. And, if you wanted to, I could almost carry the laptop into the kitchen and show you guys the broth right now.
Well, I'll share the images. We don't have to. I'll share the images, but I'm looking on your website and looking at you with these, I don't want to call it a vat, but this huge stock pot, right? It's massive.
It's massive to you, Josh, but it's actually small in what's happening out there. A lot of the companies are using giant kettles, which they're still steam jacketed and brewed in traditional fashion. So ours are 40-gallon kettles, which seem big to the homeowner, of course.
Yeah, totally.
But to my industry, it's not very big at this point. So. Anyway, we got 5 of them going, 5 or 6 going a night sometimes, and we're doing 5 nights a week, and we're, moving a lot of products. So yeah, those simmer for 18 and 24 hours on the beef. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now I know why people are getting it from you. Doesn't seem like the
Yeah.
simplest thing to make have the best flavor, if you will.
You know, yeah, most people tell us about their failures, but again, if you learn how to do it, one of the big things too, just to be aware is, I made turkey broth with my turkey from Thanksgiving this year at my home. And, 3 a.m, smelling the broth, cooking on my stove at a low, slow temperature. And it's just kind of odd, and most people have told us one or the other person does not like the smell of bone broth in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It smells beautiful when you walk in the house, but when you're trying to sleep, it's a different story. So I want to address this quickly too, just because it may or may not come up, but people always ask me about pressure cookers and Instapots.
Yes. Okay.
And
I was going to get there.
I don't personally use them. To me, it's a slow food. I use just a small pot, but a stainless steel pot. I wouldn't do it in this one, a little bit bigger, but the idea being this low, slow simmer. So I would suggest more a crock pot might be easier. If you use an Instapot or you use a pressure cooker to make your bone broth and it works for you and you don't have any adverse reactions to the broth that you make, then I say go for it. It quickens up the process. But again, I just can't stand behind it. I know there's successful people who have made it instantly. And but again, it's getting to that high pressure, high heat situation. It sort of denatures some of the way it could denature the gelatin, denature the process itself. But again, I've talked to many people who said, "Oh, I use my Instapot. It comes out great." Hey, fantastic. Instapot's a great thing, and if you love it and it works for you, then that's fantastic. So that's my opinion on that one.
But I think history has something to do with this low and slow simmer.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. There was a big kettle, a big cauldron, like you said, and there's this low, slow simmer. And in French kitchens, there's always a pot simmering in the back of the kitchen where the chef is going back there to get his usually veal broth, which again isn't my favorite thing. I would never make product out of veal, but they're using veal bones, which gives lots of gelatin and collagen. But we won't go there. So anyway, again, I don't convert, I don't condemn. Love is my religion. So if you're into that and it works for you, then hey, yeah, let's do it. More bone broth, the better,
Yeah. So just a little commercial before we kind of wrap up in a bit is, this is going to be found at lifestylelocker.com/Chef Lance. We're going to have all his details, his websites, how to get his bone broth. He has some really cool recipes on there. So when you go on, there's a lot to look at. And I think you're probably going to love it.
We recently just released a bunch of videos that we recorded, even some just cooking videos, but a lot of stuff on the cooking. We did some stuff for Thanksgiving. We had some videos from Sean Croxton. And anyway, it was good stuff. Lots of recipes on the blog for people to download and or check them out and cook them. And there's lots of information out there on the internet for people to get as well, of course. But yeah, we'll get you signed up, and we'll have you have a coupon code for everyone who's listening on the podcast. Maybe we'll just do just your name, Josh Hant. And
sure.
we'll make that the coupon code. Usually we put a 10 on it, but it's 10% off. Josh Hant 10 will be your code, and then you could post that in the notes too.
Great. I love it. I'm excited. I'm going to get me some probably tonight.
Yeah, go ahead and order some, man. We'll talk after. I'll give you a special code.
Yeah.
So.
But so let's get on your website, on your packaging. There's a lot of cool. There's like the USDA organic. There's all of these different things, and you have this little Grateful Dead bear.
Sure.
Right.
There he is, right there.
Right? And I could tell you're total, into energy, into health, into well-being, and people listening know you're just like a cool guy. Right?
Sure.
I can tell just by just conversation with you. But what is the Grateful Dead bear there for?
The Grateful Dead bear. So a couple years ago, the Grateful Dead celebrated 50th anniversary. I was a Deadhead since about 1983. I toured fairly extensively through college years in 83 through 86 with the band on the East Coast mostly. And then kind of followed them up to about 91, petered out a little bit after that, and then jumped back on the bus in 2006. So I've been a real fan of the band. Dead and Company's out on tour right now, and I caught them last year with my 7-year-old here at Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. And so yes, it's just a huge fan. We did it. We had stickers on our bags originally. I went to the designers and said, "Hey, what do you think of putting the dancing bear on there?" It's kind of a nice, energetic thing too. It's not a trademark thing of the Grateful Dead. We looked into it. It's just available. Anyone could put a dancing bear anywhere they want, and it's just this happy thing. And the other thing was I had been reading a business book by the Grateful Dead, Barry Barnes, and he said, create a tribe. That's what the Grateful Dead did, and that's what we're into at Mindshare, creating this tribe. So once you get the tribal thing, I thought, well, if someone's out there and they're a deadhead and they notice my Grateful Dead bear, maybe they'll buy my broth over someone else's or something. So,
hey, listen.
Actually, that's it,
the
man.
proof is in the pudding, man. You have bonebroth.com. You've been around doing this for so long, pre having the name. I mean, you got in the game early.
Sure.
I mean, maybe not 1,000 years ago, but but
there was a game on it 1,000 years ago, but not me personally. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Well,
Good stuff.
So 3 things here. I want to get there's 3 golden nuggets. We got how to make bone broth. We got how to buy bone broth. How we can get people to join your tribe, right? Which is a healthy version, a healthy tribe, right? So give us 3 cool things that people can do today to improve their health. I know number 1 is get bone broth and have bone broth.
If it's a part of their protocol, that's definitely a great way to go. I mean, I think, it came up a little earlier too, just bio-individuality. Understand that you're a bio-individual. So everything that's good for somebody may not be good for you. I personally can't drink alcohol. It just doesn't agree with my body. I even tried the, low alcohol wine, all these different things. I just can't do it. I can't even do kombucha. So kombucha is, quote, good for you, and probiotics are good for you, but they may not be good for you. They may not be good. They may be good for you, but not good for me. So that's one of my lifestyle locker tips.
Perfect.
Just understand, understand that. Understand that food is medicine. So let's eat food, and let's use it. Let your food be your medicine be your food. So the whole idea of this movement, the blessed return of traditional healing, the acronym for Broth, is to incorporate food into your diet. Take time to eat your food, energize over your food, pray over your food, and eat organic food. Eat well-sourced, conscious food if you can. And, if you live a lifestyle of vegetarianism or veganism and you're not going to do bone broth, just make sure it's working for you. Make sure, I've had so many vegetarians call my product a gateway product because they came over and they were left their vegetarianism or veganism to go to start with bone broth, and maybe they still do mostly vegetables, but they drink some bone broth, maybe eat fish or something. But I just tell them, look, if it's working for you, that's fantastic. Won't work for me, but if it works for you, that's great. So that's kind of the same theme a little bit. And then the third one would be, just enjoy life, and try to enjoy your time here. And time is short a lot of times, and there's a lot of challenges out there right now. So try to make the most of what you're doing. And food, like I said, that's kind of the tip of the day right there for me, especially. I'm preaching to the choir right now. Enjoy your life and do what you love what you do, kind of thing. So
yeah, great. And I love that word, bio-individuality. Very cool.
Yes, bio-individuality. It's definitely out there. It came up at a few conferences recently, and it's important for people to understand their own bio-individuality. I can't really. I love beef, but I can't really do it too often. And I definitely don't. Certain things I can't do. So just learn who you are and honor that.
Yeah, that's great. So, Chef Lance, thank you so much. I'm grateful to have you on. I'm grateful to learn so much. My goodness, I did not expect to get as much as I did. So
nice. I'm glad you
so
did.
Much.
And, well, I look forward to the release and the show. We'll pump it out on our channels. And we trademark love is the ultimate spice. I'll leave you with that. Just sprinkle it with love and go on your way.
So there you have it, Locker Nation. Lance Roll, bone broth guy, the flavor chef. Very cool, right? Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you were inspired to get healthy. Hope you were inspired to maybe start drinking bone broth on a regular basis. Just think of all the generations before us that were doing this, and it was because it was normal and healthy. But we live in such a fast, quick-paced lifestyle now that, you know what? Simmering bone broth for some people, will be a nightmare. But thank God for Chef Lance. He is doing it for you so you can have it in your house, shipped anywhere around the U.S. So our discount code for those of you listening are Josh Hant 10. That's JOSHHANDT 10. And get your 10% discount at bonebroth.com. Until next time, Locker Nation, make sure you do connect with us on Facebook, lifestylelocker.com/Facebook. If you haven't been to the website yet, lifestylelocker.com, it's pretty cool. It's an evolution in the making. And next, and the last place you can probably find me, well, you can find me on Instagram at instagram.com/Dr. Josh Hant. And all of Lance's details will be in the show notes, or you can find them on lifestylelocker.com/Chef Lance.